Hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm here to give you guys a recap, or should I say my first impressions on Vinland Saga. Now, I know all you guys might be asking me, what took you so long to actually get up with the series? It was 3 episodes, and I was trying to find time in between to watch them, and I just found some time today. I have other things to do besides just watching anime and reading manga and doing recaps on my channel, you know? So, if anything else, let's just get this started. When it comes to episode 1, forgive me if I give up very small, vague, detailed, vague recaps of each episode. I mean, it's 3 episodes, and I don't see much going on in them until when it came to episode 3. But let's just start with episode 1. There would be a warrior known as Thor, and apparently he would later on have his title revealed in the next episode. But apparently for him, he would later on fake his death somehow and later on live his own life in the village. And of course, things were looking so nice, you know? I mean, nothing violent or crazy going on. And of course, he will later on have a son named Thorfinn, and he will have a daughter named, whatchamacallit, Ilva, whatsoever. And we see to it, of course, that there will be this character right here talking about, like, talking about stories about how they, like, got over here and why we call it Vinland, you know? But eventually there'll be some problems because there will be a slave that apparently that will find the village of where Thor and Thorfinn was living at, and later on be killed by the cold and move on to the afterlife. Of course, there will be one guy who would want to like find his slave that escaped to this village, and apparently he would find him, but Thor himself would later actually buy him for a lot of sheep whatsoever, which makes me question, like, I wonder if he really, like, changed a lot. I mean, like, he did change a lot. I mean, he used to be a super boss warrior from what I read, what I watched or something. I mean, what I watched. I'm only an anime only to let you guys know. But eventually, when it comes to certain parts here and there, he will later on like tell the truth to his son that they did run away, that they did run away from here. And of course, this was all about episode 1. That was just only a vague recap. Forgive me on that because I don't got much time and I like to get this over with, you know. And of course, later on when it came to episode 2, things kind of got a little bit heated up, especially the way how it ended, and that just became very ugly. I mean, when it came to this episode right here, there will later be a warship coming by when it comes to one of the characters trying to like maybe leave to a certain place to maybe trade for goods whatsoever and celebrate about Jesus Christ. Sorry for saying that, but apparently a warship will come by to recruit Thor. And of course, there's this guy named Floki, which apparently gets me very, very concerned, because if you guys don't know what I mean by Floki, I mean take out the F and you get Loki. You guys know what I'm getting at here. I didn't realize it was like Norway era in this series until like later, and I'm like, oh wow, dude, now that's just exciting, you know, because you know when it comes to Norway, Vikings, Valhalla, I'm like, wow, dude. But apparently, of course, when it comes to the warship, there was a situation at the beginning of the episode where like a village was attacked and they were like slaughtered in cold blood. And eventually, when it comes to like that warship, going back to that situation over there, Floki wants to recruit Thor to like go to war because of what's been happening here and there. He's knowing that he disappeared for 15 years, the king is willing to let him go if he joins up with him right now. But apparently, like, he even threatened Thor, too. Like, I can't go back empty-handed. You know what I mean, right? And Thor reluctantly obliged or had to agree to go back to war. But apparently, that did not become the case. And you know, when it came to Thorfinn throughout the first 3 episodes, he became a little bit more violent, or he developed a side of violence possibly from his own father. But aside from that, like Thorfinn would later break a kid's arm in a very rough manner. I don't know what his issue is, but whatever the case may be, he apparently apparently wants a real weapon, but his father would scold him, telling him that he has no enemies and must not turn to a side of violence or something, you know, after what Thorfinn did. But apparently he doesn't really listen, and he does argue with his father in the situation. And throughout, there's a scene in episode 2 where it involved where like Thor himself was known to be the troll whatsoever, maybe because of his reputation and his skills as a fighter. But apparently throughout his time, of course, he would later on kill for a living, but he would later on hate it or dislike it in a certain sense. But apparently after maybe meeting with his wife, possibly, and giving birth to a daughter, he would, dislike it and tries to escape from it, which is why he faked his death or something. But apparently that would not be the case. Eventually, as time continues on, towards the ending of episode 2, this is episode 2 by the way, they would see to it that Floki would talk to a captain who would ask him to like murder Thor or something, which I go like, what in the living hell? I should have known, because, you know, just his name Floki was enough to me to be concerned and suspicious of, which really got me bothered, because I go like, oh dear lord, you gotta be kidding me, man. I mean, Floki alone was enough to actually get me concerned anyway. He will later on ask this guy to murder Thor whatsoever, but eventually when it continues on to episode 3, the guy says, pay me in advance and I'll do it for you, okay? And then he even showed Floki what happened to one of his men. Like, there's a spear thrown, but apparently that's one of Floki's men that was killed behind a curtain. Even trying the guy, threatening him to pay me in advance, or I won't do it whatsoever. And Floki reluctantly obliged or agreed to do so. And eventually, you know, when it comes to Thor and everyone else leaving who's going to travel with him to go to war, which they find excitement on whatsoever, we see to it, of course, that Thorfinn will later on sneak on board that ship when Thor was trying to look for his son, which doesn't surprise me a bit, because I had a feeling he was going to do it anyway, because according to that crazy violent kid, and grabbing his strength, having his strength from his father, you know, along with like wanting to possibly fight and have a real weapon, he was gonna do something stupid like this, and Thor would later on punish him by slapping him hard on the butt. Inappropriate, right? Tell me about it. Ha 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 ha. But aside from that, he will later on take his son along reluctantly with no choice, you know. But this guy who was actually looking forward to taking on Thor or killing him. But eventually, he will later on trap Thor and his other companions in a in a village after like one of them realized something is wrong. There are less houses whatsoever, and it was a trap to assassinate him. Eventually, Thor decides to grab his weapon, knowing that he sees some ships over there, and tells the other guys to be careful what you say about using the word kill. These guys are experienced, and they are not some simple pirates or farmers that you could just take on, you know? But aside from that, he will later on grab his sword and give Thorfinn the weapon that he took away from him, and tells him, you only use it to protect yourself, and use it when it's necessary. You got it? And therefore, we see to it that Thor goes into action and knocks out a battalion with just his fist alone. Knocks out an entire battalion or infantry with just his fist alone. So I go like, wow, dude, looks like we're going to see this guy in action. But one thing for sure, since I read the synopsis whatsoever, yeah, I'm not going to say anymore. Anyways, first 3 episodes was pretty crazy fire. I mean, like, the art and animation looks really slick. I mean, pretty colors, yeah. And the opening song, oh wow, dude. I never thought I feel so much fire and crazy hype from Vinland Saga's opening. But try not to like be too. Okay, it's really hard for me to calm down or trying to like not overhype the series, but I'm trying to like understand from certain viewpoints, etc. But I'm really looking forward to Vinland Saga. I mean, first 3 episodes was pretty cool. It's an introduction to certain characters, Thorfinn, and then like some other guys who have not much importance the way how I'm looking at it, but I'm looking forward to see where this series goes. I mean, I heard a lot of rumors and a lot of people talking about Vinland Saga, especially when it's covered in a Norse era or Norse mythology, you know? Well, just Norse era, if anything. I mean, Thor, Floki, and you know, Jormungandr was mentioned in this freaking like in these episodes, and you know, Thorfinn, and then like Valhalla. I mean, Valhalla. The moment I heard that, I'm like, wow, it's gonna be set in this era. I mean, Norse way. That's crazy. Anyways, took me a while to actually want to give you guys my first impressions on Vinland Saga. I know it took so long. I apologize. It's just it was kind of hard for me to find time in between to like watch the first 3 episodes since they were released right away. First 3 episodes. I really wish I should have waited a little bit longer, because the Vinland Saga's taking a couple of weeks of break, you know, after showing the first 3 episodes. But anyways, looking forward to see where Vinland Saga goes. I mean, pretty excited, and hopefully it'll be good. So until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Alpha Zero, people. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye. Toot-toot-toot!